Hello, hello, it's Emma Jo here from Lavinia Stamps, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make this. So this is a little ocean scene. Again, I've used layers, so I've used the masking papers, and we've used a fair bit of stencils, stamps, a bit of seaweed, and some liquid pearls to create this sort of bright coral adventure. And also there's some bubbles done by Stickles, just for something different. So enough of me chatting, come and let me show you how I did this. See you there. Right, so we've got some masking papers and we're going to pop it over the 6x6 card. And we're using a moon mask, that's the smallest one. And I'm making a fried egg. No, I'm not, but you'd be forgiven for thinking that. And I've cut out my mask edges and I'm just peeling it back down. Reminds me a bit of how we used to cover our school books with that sticky back plastic of old. There we go. So I've put them all back on together. And I'm going to create it layer by layer. So which one are we going to start with? The center. Let's start with the yolk. So here we go with the Elements Ink Sundance. It's not going to be a yolk, I promise you. And I'm building up the colour step by step in a super speedy way. And here we go. We've got Red Berry Wreath stamp that I'm inking up with Cheerful VersaFine Clair. And I'm just going to use it as if it's some sort of sea vegetation and curl it round this stamp like it's some precious coral. And I'm going to do the same to add some extra oomph to it by using a different colour, Charming Pink. There we go. And now here comes the turn of the little fish, who is just peeking out from behind the coral. He's the striped fish from the fish set, and I'm stamping him in VersaFine Clair Nocturne. Isn't it funny how we decide whether they're male or female? Anyway, this fish is male. When it's dry, add the mask and peel it off, and let's go on to the next layer. And this is Elements Ink Confetti that I am slowly building up. And then I'm remembering where I want the sun to come from, and I'm using Elements Ink Sundance. And now we've moved on to the violet chalk, again Elements Ink. Because where there is light, there is dark. So that's your violet chalk there. And there's some Della blue going on as well. And a little bit of Bermuda. Bermuda's lovely. It does give you a beautiful depth on top of blue tones. Now I've used a mini seahorse here from the Sea Creatures set. It's not imperative to use it, but it's a little bit of fun. And now I've got the Pebble stencil, and using Elements Ink Blue Lagoon, I'm going over it and getting this lovely texture. Like that dappled water effect. I love it. But try and remember not to do too much over where the yellow is, because that's where your sunshine is coming from. And now I'm using the seaweed stamps and using medieval blue, just because, you know what, sometimes it's nice to have a little change from the black. And also it suggests then that there is a difference between Mr. Fish and the seaweed. And I've also used verdant for that seaweed as well, for the top where the sun's coming through. Okay, we're on the last layer, and I'm using Elements Ink Mermaid. And yes, it is sped up. I do not work at this rate. It's quite worrying if I did. And we just build up the strength of colour that you want. And I've got the stencil Ambience from the new collection. I like this because it looks a bit shell-like. And I'm using Blue Lagoon again to give me some oomph in the shell department. And I've picked it up and moved it around so that I can do the bottom left-hand corner as well, bottom right-hand corner as well. Oopsie doops. Okay, we're back with old seaweed in VersaFine Clair Medieval Blue. And he's just going to pick up from where the seaweed in the other layer left off. You see? I told you there was some in the other layer. Magic. Now this is an acrylic spray, Indian Sunset, and the foliage stencil. And I'm just placing it over where the sun is coming in. Do you remember me saying that's where I wanted the sunlight to come in? And that's just given us that little extra bit of oomph and interest. So this is Marine Kelp stamp, and I'm stamping it in VersaFine Clair Warm Breeze. Sorry, roll my R's a bit more. Warm Breeze. There we go. Happy days. And so we've now built up this marine underworld with a spotlight on Mr. Fish, who's just pootling about minding his own business, but it's all a bit dark out there. At least he's got the sun shining on him. Aha! Liquid pearls, hurrah! And this is raspberry. And so I'm just going to add a little bit of texture with my liquid pearls. We've got two colours, raspberry and prickly pear. But just hold your horses on those, because we're now going in with a Posca pen that's aqua green. And we're just going to dot up the inside of the seaweed. The Posca pen in pink is going around the red berry wreath in the first layer by Mr. Fish. And you can add a few more dots and things, and you can even outline that first layer if you'd like to. But colour in this is just super duper. I'm now using a Posca pen in orange to just colour in bits of the stripes, and I think I've used some glittery yellow Posca as well, just to give a bit of difference to it. After all, he's tropical. Here we go. I told you we were going to use liquid pearls. There they go in the bottom left-hand corner, just giving us a little bit of interest. If you can find a pattern you want to follow, follow that pattern. Ah, look, there's a liquid pearl in gold that we're using just to add some interest in the first layer. I'm outlining here the seaweed in pink, but I will go back and do that in white in a second. Okay, here we go. Sprinkles. Bubbles made by sprinkles, and that was icicle. I told you we'd be going back in with the white, so I'm using the white Signo broad pen here. And I've just gone down the side that's hit by the sunlight. And with that, you have done it! Hurrah! Well done! Happy days! So I am really pleased with how this came out, because we used an awful lot of colours on there, but you know what? It's so effective. It may not be realistic and you know, subtle in any way, but I am afraid I can't really do realistic or subtle. So this is just a lovely spotlight on a travelling little fish having a gulpy moment as she comes out into this dark area. It really is like a spotlight of a moment in time. And you know what? It just shows you don't need to be scared. Just be yourself and be beautiful. I hope you enjoyed making this. I certainly did. If you have any comments, please pop them in the post below and I will do my best to answer them. You take care and have fun. And remember, inky fingers are very good. See you soon. Bye.